Discord. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Creative Tavern. My name is Christopher Lee. I am a concept artist. I've been in the industry for about 10 years now, worked with various companies such as Walt Disney Imagineering, as well as Universal Studios in the creative division. And I'm here today with my buddy Michael Welker. Say hello, Michael.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael L. Wilker. I'm a Unity developer now, also
Yeah.
writer and creative producer from the theme park industry, which is where I met Chris. And Chris and I worked on a couple of projects together in the theme park industry, and recently found ourselves kind of in between projects and said, like, hey, let's do something together. And took a long, winding road to figure out what that might be, settled on learning how to make a video game. And along the way, we met consistently twice a week to have these design sessions to talk about the thing that we were making. We said, hey, why don't we stream these design sessions? Because this would be a really interesting thing to share with a creative community. And in order to build that community, we decided to make the Creative Tavern. And to tell you more about that, I'm going to hand it back to Chris.
Thank you, Michael. And yes, the Creative Tavern is for all creative people. It's not just people to make video games or drawing, but it's also for storytelling, for model making, anything that's creative. And it's a place where you can come together, where we can all come together and just share all the stuff that we're doing. And so you guys are welcome to be on the stream as well as be in the Discord and upload all the stuff that you want to show us. And this is not our platform, but this is also your platform too, kind of like show the world what you're doing as well. So thank you so much for being here. So good to see you guys. All right, so today is July 27th, and it is a Wednesday. And on Wednesday, it is Michael's turn to share with us what he's been tinkering with in the world of programming in the Unity sector. And so thank God for him because I don't do Unity. I just do Blender. I do Blender. I do 3D. Yes. So thank God for you,
It's
man.
team effort. Thank God
Yeah.
for Chris, because he does the art.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without that, this would not look nearly as pretty.
Oh, well, thank you.
Um, sure. Okay. So, what I think we're going to do this week, because I had a relatively unproductive week because of some unforeseen life events that derailed some of my usual productivity routine, which we'll get into maybe a little bit. At the very least, I've got a fun sort of reminder, like a
Mm,
little bit of a peppy meme for y'all.
nice.
Um, so because of that, I don't have nearly as much to show for Unity update, and definitely not like the last couple of weeks where I've had an hour and a half, 2 hours of updates to share with you guys. Like, oh, yeah, I added a dozen new things to the game. That's not the case this week, but I do have a couple of things that I think are worth sharing. So we'll take a look at that.
Nice.
We're going to do Tavern Trivia this week, and we have a supersized version of Tavern Trivia.
Oh God.
Um, yeah, it's instead of 5 questions, we've got, I think I put 8 in this week.
Oh, nice.
Um, and they are themed to horror movies
Right.
for Kolibut. And also, I've got several Swedish themed trivia questions as well for Captain Blue Blue. If you're
Oh,
here,
nice.
uh, those are for you.
Nice.
Um, okay, so yeah, rail shooter update, tavern trivia. So in addition to the rail shooter, like actual Unity update, I've also got some sort of like design, like a design presentation to share with everybody,
Hmm.
which is basically I I kind of took a step back from the programming and started thinking about like, okay, now that I'm transitioning from building systems to actually using those systems to build levels,
Hmm.
what sort
Hmm.
of, you know, behavior do we want to put into the game? And then that will also kind of feed back into the systems that are needed to make that happen. So we'll take a look at that. And then
Nice.
finally, if there's time, we may do a little bit of a check-in on my sort of workload map, which we looked at in a previous session. So I've done an update on that, and we may take a look at that if there's time. That
Okay.
one, yeah, I think, is like not quite as important as the other three. Um, So to get started, let's take a look at Unity. I'm going to start with a recap of last week. And then hopefully if my source control works, what we're looking at right now is actually the file that we looked at last week. And then I should be able to update the source control to just load in all of the changes that I've made since last time.
Nice.
So what we have here is basically that this was the big thing from last time was scene 2, which basically is a series of asteroids with human installations on them where there's kind of like this mining operation. And I built this sort of targeting system, which you're kind of seeing like a raw version of here.
Right.
If I hit play, we're going to see our ship come flying in onto this asteroid, and then as it sort of takes aim, you've got these targets that fly in. The player can then shoot the targets to well, unless you're terrible at the game like I
Ah,
am, if you miss, then obviously there's a miss condition. But if you hit them all, you get a victory. Oh, no. I'll get the next one. I promise. Um, so yeah, if you miss all the targets, so the targets have like a timer. If you miss them, you
uh-huh.
oh, this is perfect. I'm glad that that just happened. You'll notice there's no more targets on the screen.
Yeah.
Um, that's because there's a bug there that I'm so glad that that happened because I couldn't consistently get it to reproduce itself. I fixed that bug, and so
Oh,
that's
nice.
one of the things I wanted to share with you guys. But let's see
Nice.
if I can get this. There we go. Okay,
Perfect.
perfect.
Nice.
Got it. So that's the success condition. This system can detect when you've succeeded and when you've failed. So yeah, so that was kind of like the big update. There were a couple of other things too, but really that was the uh, the grand finale
Mm,
for
mm,
last week.
mm.
And I guess while we're here, I'll show you why that bug is happening. So basically, I've got my player rail here in green, you can see. The ship is up there, and he flies down here, and then right when he gets to about 3, the node 3 there, that's when he turns sideways, slows down, and
Mhm,
starts
mhm.
doing stuff over here.
Yeah.
Um, what I can do, yeah, actually, if I pause, hit play, and now go to the gates,
Hey, Captain Blue
and
Blue, how are you?
Captain
Good to
Blue
see you,
Blue,
man.
welcome. I'm just going to turn on the mesh renders. So for all of the gates, what I did is as soon as the game starts, they hide their mesh renders because we don't want to see them.
Right.
But now you can see all the different gates in the scene. So if
Uh-huh.
I resume play, oh, damn it. Why am I going to do that again? So go to all these guys, turn on the mesh renders. There they are. Resume play. Now you can see when we're flying through the gate, like boop, boop. Okay, great. So as soon as it goes through that gate, it turns sideways. As soon as it goes through that gate, it triggers
Oh.
the
Yep.
targets, right? So
Cool,
that's kind
cool.
of how that's working. Um, Missed that one, and you'll see we're going to pass through another gate right here. Bam,
Oh,
that
nice.
triggers the next set of targets.
Nice.
And now this one is the one where there's a problem. Uh, let's see if we pass through it or not. Nope. So you may have noticed there, the problem
Oh,
with that
it's
gate,
because it wasn't perpendicular. It was parallel to the path, right?
exactly. And the reason for that is that if I unpause this right now, you'll see that that gate's gone. And if I hit so on the keyboard there is a shortcut key to just tell Unity like, hey, the object that I've got selected, like let's just go to that object. If I do that, we go whoop, all the way over here. And the reason for that is that I put all of the gates at location 000, just so that way they're all in the same place. And then in the code, I've got it written so that gates will automatically go to a specified location if I want them to.
Uh-huh.
So here in the gate script, you can see place at waypoint is got a little checkbox in it, and then like what path waypoint do you want to place it at 16. So when the game starts, it's going to take this gate and go to this path, which is the player rail, and then if I go over there, player rail. it's going to go here and place that at node 16. The problem with the code that I created was that it didn't change the orientation of the gate.
Mm.
So whatever
Oh.
orientation the gate is at the beginning, it just keeps that
Oh,
orientation.
got it.
So it moves it to that location correctly, but if it's parallel to
Right.
the rail, there's
Yeah.
this tiny little narrow sliver of
Yeah.
space that you have to be into to get through there.
Right.
So I fixed that
Nice.
with just a tiny little bit of code. And actually, what I'm going to do now, because I think we're basically done with last week's update, and I can kind of show you how I fixed that this week.
Nice.
Let me go to my source control and bring in your. You sure want to do this? Yes. Bam. Come in here. Load in. Reload. Yeah. Okay. And so now, actually, let me switch to the VS Code. Let's hopefully this opens. Gate. And if this doesn't open, I'll fix this real quick. Nope, didn't open. Great. Hang on 1 second.
Yeah.
Change this to this. There we go. Save. Okay, you can see this code on screen now, right? We're looking
Yep.
at the gate code.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fantastic. So basically what I did is I added a couple of other functional updates for this, but the most important one is this single line of code right here, this look at, which basically now, this piece right here, this first one, that was the piece of code that moves the gate from wherever it is to that node on the rail. And then the second line, now I'm basically telling it to like, hey, the node that you're at, go ahead and go to that location, but I want you to look at the node that's immediately before this one. So if I place you at node 16, I want you to look at node 15, because what that does is that guarantees that that the gate becomes perpendicular to the movement of the rail.
Mm.
So in the actual game, when that gate gets placed in here, if I think it's gonna be like right about there. If I do play, yep, there we go. So you can see this gate now. He's not parallel to the rail anymore.
We're still looking at the code right now.
Oh, crap. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hang
Okay.
on. Switch back to Unity. So, okay. Select the rail. Ta-da!
Oh,
Now
perfect.
that gate is aligned as it should be. So, okay, that was a big thing that I fixed.
Nice.
I also have some notes for myself. All right, so gate bugs, fix that. Oh, I updated the ship camera, so that way now the player ship is always in front of the targeting reticles.
Nice. Nice.
So when I hit play in a second, you'll get to see there's going to be some other stuff going on, so you might not see it at first, but try to keep an eye out for that.
Right.
So
Right.
that way you
Right.
can see like, oh, hey, cool. Now the targeting reticle actually passes behind the ship. Because of the placement of the reticle is almost always above the ship, that rarely actually happens. So kind of like a little bit of polish. Wasn't that difficult to do. Pretty easy once I figured out the other ones.
Right.
But go ahead and take a look for that.
Cool.
Okay, so a couple other big things that I added that we're going to see in a second here. I imported all of Chris's updated drone assets, so those are now in the game, and I've been playing around with the spider drones, or the S drones for short. So we're going to see those in the game now. I also added a well, actually, for the other stuff, let me just hit play, and you can see what we got going on here.
Nice.
One note of warning: there's still a strange bug in this scene that I can't figure out, where I'd say like 1 in 10 times as the ship flies in and like approaches the asteroid,
Mm-hmm.
it takes off into outer space for some reason. So
Interesting.
if that happens, please forgive. That's a
No
bug that I
worries.
haven't fixed yet. But
Can't wait to
here
see
we
it.
go.
Yeah.
You're gonna see some.
And also, thank you so much for the follow, Flip the Nam. Really appreciate.
Ooh,
Yeah. Well, and
yeah,
welcome to
thank
the
you.
Creative Tavern. Yeah.
Awesome. Glad to have you. Okay, so here we go. Play. So we got our ship flying. Oh,
Oh, cool.
actually, I should. Well, I'll just leave those gates on. But check it out. We've got
Oh,
dialogue,
sweet. Oh, cool.
and you'll also notice that the targets are actually they're zooming in on spider bots or S drones, so you can see
Yeah.
like, oop, there's one right there, and it's
Yeah.
a little hard to tell from here, but they're actually tracking the player with their heads.
Nice.
So yeah. Oh, and one thing that we may have missed there, and actually I am gonna shut the gates off since they're a little bit
Flip the
distracting.
Nam says, no problem. Hope you are having a great day, but for now, just lurking and listening about what you guys are talking about. And he said, Unity, a familiar software. And he says, Yo! This is what he's saying about what you're showing right now. And Captain
Sweet.
Blue says, Yeah, UI. And Fluff says, Right,
Woo!
yeah. So, well, the people like what you're doing, man.
Excellent.
So, so,
I'm glad this is
yeah.
resonating.
Can you do it? Can you
So
play it again? Yeah.
sure. Here. Well, yeah. Let me just restart it here. But I'm going to pause it for us. Right here, so we could see this. So yeah. So what I did was I added to the HUD the ability to have basically these dialog boxes that
Mm-hmm.
appear when you trigger, like when you pass through a gate, the gate can
Mm-hmm.
send a
Mm-hmm.
message to the HUD and say, hey, display this message. And we can
Nice.
customize what it says here.
Nice.
So in this particular case, I think this is either this gate or the timed target manager that this gate triggers.
Right.
He sends a message to the HUD and says, oh, I'm the gate for the spider bots that are trying to attack the shuttle. So display this message.
Right. Right. Right.
Um, Sends that message. The HUD says, okay, got it. Here we go.
Nice.
One message coming up. Pops it in
Nice.
there, and it's on a timer, and then it goes away.
Right.
And I just grabbed some like royalty-free random space pilot-looking character. Obviously, we can replace that with our own.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I was just gonna say I'm going to. I would very much like to draw some characters in there, and I don't know. Maybe there's a captain that we might want to put inside there. Maybe he's wearing a blue
hmm.
uniform. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds
We'll
pretty
see.
good.
We'll see. We'll
Captain
see.
with a blue theme. I
Yeah,
like that.
that's something. Maybe a blue something. I don't know. We'll see.
I think it's a good idea. Sounds
Yeah,
classy.
yeah.
And then so we've got our spider drones. They're kind of like swarming all over
Cool.
the station here. And I also added the actual shuttle. So you're going to see. Oh, whoops. So you're going to see the shuttle right there, kind of in the staging dock. He's kind of clipping through the environment,
Oh
but
yeah, sure.
I
But
mean
who
that's
cares?
fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
And so one of the things that's cool is now watch what happens to the shuttle if I fail.
Ah!
Boom! He blows up, and then they
Ah!
scream, "Oh no!"
That is awesome.
Uh, but if I succeed, something else happens.
Take out the
Now
destroy
I've
before
got the
destroy the
pressure's on
spaceship.
because I'm terrible at
Come on,
this.
come on, come on. Oh my god. Oh my god. Do
Oh,
it. Do it.
there we
Oh,
go.
good. We're all clear. Thank you. Oh,
And
cool.
then
It's
they
animating.
take
That's
off.
awesome.
So the way obviously this is still like
Sure.
draft type stuff. We want to set it up so, and maybe there's like three different shuttles, and so you've got these three different moments where
Yeah,
you're trying
yeah,
to like get them
yeah.
to be freed. But the idea is that though that these moments where you have these timed target situations are tied to actual like outcomes in the game where you have
Mm-hmm.
failure conditions and you have victory conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Mm-hmm.
you and it won't always be just innocent bystanders who are affected. You could take damage in certain cases, like maybe there's a drone that's like getting ready to snipe you from afar, and so there's like
Right.
one target, but it's way out there, and you got to try
Yeah.
to like get it. And if you don't, then he snipes you, and you take a whole bunch of damage.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway,
Oh, that's
this
so
was
cool,
like
dude.
Thanks. Yeah, this was the big sort of like game system functionality ad this week, was figuring out a way to get all these different things to kind of talk to each other.
Yeah,
So that way, and I really haven't optimized it yet. There's still a lot of things in here that are pretty clunky.
right.
But trying to find a way to optimize it such that I'm not duplicating work all over the place and having all kinds
Hmm.
of different things, like having 10 different things talking to the HUD and asking it for stuff.
Right.
Instead, trying to break things up into, like, okay, I'm not going to have the drones talk to the HUD. I'm going to have the drones talk to their drone manager, and the drone manager will be sort of like this central conduit that is like, okay, I've got the HUD information, so if you need something from the HUD, you got to go through me.
Nice, nice.
Um, Same sort of thing with like gates and the time target managers and things like that. I tried to
Yeah.
find a way to like uh, get those things to sort of talk to each other. That way we could program in these sort of like events. And so one thing that I'm going to do now for our sake is I'm going to show you what I did with the sort of spider drones, these drone S or S drones here. If I hit play now, or actually, yeah, hit play and then move here, you can see
Oh my God.
they're like tracking the player.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Look at
really
that. You
hard to,
did it.
yeah, and it was not that difficult.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah, this is kind of like a rudimentary version of it, because you'll notice that the head is kind of like a little bit off center and it's not actually rotating around the neck.
Uh-huh.
Um, I was going to look into
Oh
doing
wow, look at
that,
that.
uh, but because you really don't see it, like you're far enough away that
Yeah,
you're
you're
never
not.
going to notice
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
felt like I'm not going to bother programming
Yeah.
that right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So I didn't.
Oh man,
The
this is
other,
cool. And I'm sorry,
yeah,
I'm gonna just
thanks.
jump in and oh fuck, I wish, is there a way, and this is out of scope probably, and let me know if it is or it isn't. Is there a way to have like a cutscene where you see the robots' heads like moving towards you? It's like tracking you. It's kind of like a cutscene because I know for a fact that when we're playing, we're not gonna we're, unless we're looking for it, we're not gonna see those guys tracking you. I don't know,
Right.
possibly unless we get super close to them, then then we will notice. Um, I don't know. Your thoughts?
No, yeah, you're spot on. Because like if I play this again, and I'll just let it run, so you can see like they're definitely tracking us, but
Oh
partially
yeah,
because they're
yeah.
so far away, and partially
Right.
because they are like they're maintaining this phase locked relationship with the
Mhm.
player,
Mhm. Mhm.
that the head of the drone actually doesn't change from this perspective.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. 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 Yep.
Um, So there's that. The second thing is, yes, there's absolutely a way to do cutscenes. I don't know how to do that yet.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, I
Yeah.
may be able to do that before our launch
Mhm.
window.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I would like to, because I think it would be really fantastic to couple the scene transitions where we like finish a scene, get the scoreboard, get the progress stage screen, and then load in like, okay, here's a little cutscene to kind of like queue up like, oh shit, all of the S drones are attacking this station, and then switch to the player perspective where you're flying in to deal with it. That would be
Mhm.
great.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
Unity can absolutely do that, and it's not like a super advanced thing, but it. I definitely don't know how to do that yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Like I said, it's not important right now to do that. It's just to just showcase what you did with the heads, how they're tracking you. And again,
sure,
it's not that important of a story point element. Uh, and I don't want you to take that time to figure it out right now because more important is to make the level.
sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and one other thing about the S drones that I'll show you is all of the drones that you're seeing here are actually twice their normal size,
Oh,
because
okay.
when I put them in at the regular size, they're just tiny little things. So
Nice.
here I'm going to swap out, here's the regular size, like that's just normal size 1,
Yeah.
like a 1-to-1 scale. And then if you fly in here, they really look like little ants.
Yeah.
Um,
Right. Right. Right.
which, maybe isn't necessarily a bad thing because they can be harder to hit but have less health.
Right.
Um, but it also kind of felt like, and I didn't put any on the backside here because once I
Yeah.
put in this like first wave, I was like, oh wow, those guys are really small. So let
Right.
me try to like make them bigger. So I
Yeah. No, I think that's great.
doubled their size, and I think they look a lot better,
Sure.
or they're a lot more visible. Not necessarily
Right.
that they look better, but and I think part of the reason for that, and the reason why it's such a big discrepancy from the other drones, because all the other drones you see in the game are their normal scale. That
Right.
I think the reason for that is because these guys are stationary on terrain that is
Mhm.
far away.
Mhm.
They're not flying up into your face and kind of like getting at this mid distance where you can get a really good look at them, like with the T drones. Um, so I think for that reason, we may need to just scale these guys up and
Sure.
just roll with the idea that they're going to be a little bit bigger, bulkier, sort of tank type things, as
Yeah.
opposed to these little creepy crawly spider sized
Right.
things. They're spider
And
shaped, but not spider sized.
right. And when I'm able to finish texturing it, they will hopefully, fingers crossed, stand out from the environment so that,
Mm-hmm.
they when you see them, you'll
Yes.
you'll see them. And also they'll have red eyes. And by the way, thank you so much, Amazed Tutu. I don't know if you know Michael, if you know that name. Amazed Tutu has just
Oh,
followed.
that sounds familiar. Yeah.
That's familiar, right? So thank you so much for stopping by. Really appreciate it, Amaze Tutu. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
That's
Amazed.
yeah, that's so cool that
Glad to
you
have you here.
joined here. And just FYI, this is the game Michael and I have been working on. I've created all the assets in Blender, and Michael is he's responsible for making it move and make it fun in Unity. So this is a combination of both our efforts, and he says happy face and looks great. Thank you so much, Amaze22. And if you guys know, chat, Amaze22 is one of our former coworkers, and he's very talented. He also knows 3D. He's worked with very big companies, and I'm not going to divulge what it is because that's his decision. But thank you so much for being here. We're very happy to see you, Amaze Tutu.
Yeah. Glad you could join us. Um, one other thing I was going to say too, to kind of like that we could do with these spider drones to make them to make the like head thing a little bit more of a moment and to like allow the player to actually see it
Right.
is there is and actually yeah, so I'm gonna just hit play on this and I'm gonna cue something up for us to show you a reference that I think will explain the whole thing for me. Um, do, 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 do. Yeah, I think it's right here.
Ah, you failed us. Why did you let us die?
Yep, perfect. So back that up a little bit. Okie dokie. All right, so I'm going to stop this and switch, hopefully, to yeah, okay. So in the Star Wars Trilogy arcade game, I guess is that looking okay on there? Yeah. In the Star Wars Trilogy arcade game, in the trench run sequence, if I hit play here, notice what happens when, like right there, when these turrets, when the targeting, like reticle flies in, watch the head of the turret, because there's going to be a couple more that'll appear here. You see how it's like facing away from the player, and then when the player kind of like comes in range, it
Oh,
snaps, like it
it
spins
locks
around.
onto you. Yeah.
So I think
It's
we could
very
maybe do
subtle.
that with the spider drones, where
Yeah.
they're going to be stationary, kind of hanging out, maybe looking away from the player, and then as you come within proximity,
Mhm.
their head can like whip around real quick and like
Sure.
see you and like target you.
Yeah, it's like a
Um,
high speed contrast versus like something's really slow. you won't be able to
Mm.
tell that it's
Mhm.
actually looking at us, but it's going whipping really, really quickly. We'll see the eye and be like, oh shit, something's locked onto us.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And Maze says, I love the Star Wars game. And Killer Cookie, Cookie, hey, how are you? So good to
Cookie,
see you in
hello.
here. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, that's so awesome. So right now we're
Yeah, this is. Or sorry, go ahead, Chris.
yeah. Right now, Michael is just showing us a Star Wars game reference that it's something that's very very cool, and we might take that as inspiration and use it in our game.
There you go. Okay, so that's that. Let me switch back to Unity. All right, close that guy out. Great. Um, okay, so I think that's really all that there was to see here in scene 2. Let me check my notes. Oh yeah.
And
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
oh, I was gonna say while you're checking your notes, can you play the thing one more time just for
Oh,
the
sure.
people
My
who
pleasure.
came in?
Yeah.
So awesome job today, Michael. This is very very cool. Take out those
Thank you.
spider bots before they destroy the escape shuttle.
I'll try. Uh,
Oh
oh,
no!
everybody died again.
Everyone died.
Don't rely on me to rescue your shuttles, because it's not gonna happen.
That's because we're not trained to do this. We were just,
There you go.
supposed to do like an escort, but all of a sudden this new responsibility has been thrusted upon us, and then
Yeah.
we got promoted really really fast to defend this fuel colony.
There we go.
Nice. Thank you, Michael.
Okay, sure. Yep. I'm gonna play that again while I'm looking at my notes here. Um, Drone targeting system. Oh yeah, minor tweaks to that, but that still helps. So the drone targeting system still has a couple of bugs that I'm working through. There was also a bug in the hit flash thing that I fixed, which from a code perspective is really interesting to me, but maybe not that interesting to look at. But the basic idea is that the original code that I had written to, you know how we had talked about the hit flash thing where like when you shoot the, in
Hmm.
fact, let me load in scene 1. Did I change anything that we need to save? I don't think so. Um, just so people know what I'm talking about. And actually, I need to change one thing here. This gate does need to switch to look backward. And you'll also notice in this scene, I added a spider drone on this,
Oh,
this
cool.
asteroid.
Yeah.
Um, so he's kind of like hanging out, like that's down there is where the player comes out of. And actually, yeah, so that's where the player comes out of. So he's going to be like tracking the player as we fly out of there. You might not be able to see them though right now because I'm going to turn the ship around. But I'll switch it back in a second so we can see another example of like the difference between the scale 1 to 1 and then the
Hmm.
twice the size.
Hmm.
But just to give people an idea of like the hit flash thing. So we're flying out of here, we're going to spin around, then there's going to be a whole bunch of drones that are going to appear here. And you'll notice some of the bugs with the targets, like as the drones
Oh.
come out of the thing, some of the targets pick up with them. But anyway, the hit flash thing, you can see like when I shoot these drones, they pulse yellow
Hmm.
in order to indicate that they've taken damage. Um, and there was an issue with basically telling Unity to go through that game object, the drone or the box or whatever it was, and to change all of the elements to a yellow color and then to change back to their normal color.
Hmm.
The problem with that was when there were like children or like multiple components that needed to be changed. Um, and so I had written this code that like went through and checked to see if like does this object have children, and if it does, then okay, now you need to do a different routine. If it doesn't have any children, then just change the material for this one mesh renderer. But if it's got children, make a list, start adding all those things to the list, yada yada yada. And
Hmm.
I had like just built using like primitive code that how to do that, but it turns out Unity has this thing called like look for component in children, and it will recursively look through, which basically just means that it will check for, in this particular context, this is what this recursion means.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
can explain what recursion in programming in general means another time. But in this particular case, what it basically means is like, it'll check like, hey, does this thing have children? Yeah. Okay. Does that thing, do those children have children? Yeah. Okay. Do those children have, it'll just keep going until it gets to the bottom of the tree.
Oh, that's
And it
useful.
will
Nice.
collect all of those components
Yeah.
and give them back to you in one list. So I went from this like about a dozen lines of code that I had written to
Uh-huh.
using a built-in Unity function that was just a
Uh-huh.
single line of code. So I was
Wow.
like, oh, and it did it better than the thing that I had written. So
Oh, wow.
we got more functionality, fixed a bug, and reduced the code size significantly.
Nice, nice.
So now the hit flash thing works perfectly. And I ran into that bug because I was trying to like program in some other thing. I think with the spider drones, and it wasn't working, and I couldn't figure out why, and that's why.
Oh.
But there's our spider drone. He's on that little rock over there. You can see like he's pretty tiny, and also with the like, and once we get the colors updated, I think it's gonna look quite a bit better. Because right now he's kind of blending in. He's just like
Right.
standard gray color. He
Yeah.
kind of blends in with the rock. But that's scale 1. And then if I switch on the size 2 and hit play, he's quite a bit more visible.
Yeah.
Still pretty small, but I think at the very least the size 2 is going to be the way to go,
Mhm,
uh,
mhm,
if not potentially bigger.
mhm.
Um,
And we could always
but
go in between 1 or 2, right? We could
sure,
adjust
yeah,
however size we wanted to.
yep.
And Amaze says assets and gameplay look great. And yeah,
Awesome, thanks, man.
thank you, Mace. And Captain Blue says right, and Killer Cookie says I'm good. How are you both? We're doing really well. Thank you so much for asking, Cookie. And thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
This is so cool. Uh,
glad to have you.
yeah, so Cookie, I've been recently watching Cookie's streams, and she's like a new streamer and very talented. And I've invited her to the Creative Tavern, and hopefully
Yeah,
we'll see
welcome.
some of her awesome work in our Discord in the future.
Okie doke. So, yeah, to answer your question, Chris, just real quick, I made a size 1.5. That's this guy.
Nice.
So
Uh-huh.
here's the 2, here's the 1.5,
Sweet.
and kind of toggle back and forth. But
Cool.
yeah, so like we can increment, like if we wanted to do a, 1.789 and found that like
Hmm,
that was the
hmm.
perfect scale, like we could do that.
Nice.
Um, I just, for the sake of like uh, drafting, pick like, let me just double it, let me triple it, let me make it 10 times the size. Let's see what happens.
Right.
Um, okay,
Cool. That's
so
awesome.
I think that's about it for the spider drone. Oh yeah, the other thing too is like we I think if I hit play and come back to this, yeah, you'll see this guy. He's tracking again. Um, it's just kind of like following the player. Oh,
That is
one
so
thing
cool.
that I noticed here, I don't think we need to really fix it, but you'll notice that he's,
Clips.
yeah, he clips through
Yep.
his own
Legs.
legs,
Yeah.
and I thought like we might be able to do something where the spider drone's like in this position when they're like walking around or something, but maybe their legs can go into a sort of like more like when they're ready to like go into siege mode and like, okay, I'm gonna just hunker down right here.
Right.
Maybe rather than their legs being at these sort of like 90-degree angles, maybe they can be a little bit more
Hmm, hmm.
obtuse.
I know
That way
exactly
we
what you're
can,
talking about. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
that
It
way the
it
head can clear the
right.
prongs on their like shoulders.
Right. Yeah, because right now he's kind of like squatting. Uh, but if he's about to shoot, he can like be at a tension, so his whole body is more elevated.
Yeah,
His leg doesn't move, but his
exactly.
whole body is elevated. So yes, that's definitely doable.
Um, cool. So I think that's about it for that. I'll go ahead and play this again while I'm checking my notes so we have something interesting to look at.
Yeah.
Do 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 do. Yeah, pretty much everything else in here. There's a lot of bug fixes that I went through and did, but didn't really spend a whole lot of time adding new stuff this week because of, like I'd kind of teased, a little bit of life chaos.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to say really quick about I'm noticing that there is right off the bat it seems a little bit busy. I love what I'm seeing. I'm just curious if later on we can figure out a way to show it a little bit more cohesive, I guess. 'Cause and hear me out. Can you pause when I say to well, shit, you gotta
Sure.
shoot at it too. 'Cause right now there's a lot of elements going on. You got the spinning reticles as well as the health bar. I want all
Hmm.
those stuff. I need it. I want it. But I can say that it feels a little bit I don't know. I don't know. It feels a little bit there's like a lot of information.
Hmm.
I need it though.
Yeah.
I want the information, but I gotta figure out I think we gotta figure out a way to make it look less cluttered because again,
Sure.
right now there's four guys on the
5.
screen. Oh, five, one, two, three, four, five. Yeah, there's five guys on the screen, and yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's just something that I'm that's kind of sticking out to me. I
Sure.
need I'm not saying get rid of it. I'm just saying you and I need to figure out a way to make that look a little bit more streamlined.
Hmm.
The functionality is definitely there. I do not want to get rid of it. If this is what it has to be at the end of the game, then so be it. But if at all possible, I want to take a stab and figure out a way, graphic design wise, to make this make it make it a little bit cleaner.
Sure.
I don't know
Um,
what are your thoughts?
no, yeah, I'm with you. And again, like everything we're seeing here is not like this finely tuned,
Mm-hmm.
balanced.
Yep,
Like, yeah, I
yep, yep,
think
yep.
this is going to be good for this level. This is just me like, oh, hey, I managed to get the systems working. Let me just throw a bunch of crap in there and
Yeah,
see what happens, just to test things.
yeah,
Um, Yeah, so to that point, I agree. I think that we need to find a way to, unless we're going for chaos and we want to have a whole bunch of like shit happening and
right,
really like overwhelm the player with visual stimulation,
right, right,
um, then yeah, we need to curate what's going to be on screen. And
right.
one of the things that uh, I've noticed in a lot of the references we used is, so like in the original, the Jurassic Park arcade game, and in fact, yeah, sure, I'll just pull that up right now for us because I think it'll be a good reference, and it will also play into something that I'm going to show you guys in a second here. Reference JP Arcade. Let me switch
And
to.
as you're looking at your pulling up stuff up,
Hmm.
Amaze22 actually made a comment. He says maybe combine the health bar and the reticle. Reticles could change color to represent the health.
Mm, yeah, that's definitely something we could do for sure.
Yeah, interesting. And Bulu says, good idea, I like it.
Um, so one of the things that you'll notice in a game like this one. So this particular boss, like, so you know, fight the T-Rex, and he's actually gonna have a health bar. Well, it's not showing here though. Hmm. Oh, because they
Oh,
beat him.
I think I know what you're talking about. It's like a health bar on top of the screen.
Right.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But the other thing you'll notice too is that when the other enemies come in here, there's like no target on them whatsoever. They don't have a health bar or anything. And that's
Sure,
mostly
sure.
because these things die almost immediately, like it's
Right.
just one shot and they're
Uh-huh.
gone.
Uh-huh.
Um, and even with like other types of enemies, you've got like these Gallimimuses in here, same sort of thing.
Right.
Um, and then also when you're getting attacked by these Triceratops, nothing has health on them.
Yeah.
You only really need to show the health bar when you need to shoot an enemy quite a bit, like multiple times, like
Right,
for a
right,
boss or
right.
if an enemy takes lots and lots of shots. Um, and so when you get to bosses in this game, yeah, here you go. Here's the T-Rex with the health bar. So when you're fighting this version of the T-Rex, you get this
Oh,
health bar up the top, and
yeah.
so that's kind of helping you. It's creating a way to indicate to the player progression, because
Right.
otherwise, if you're shooting this thing for as much as you're shooting it, you're gonna feel like, man, am I doing any like, am I making any progress? Am I doing anything to this? monster,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why you need the health bar. If your
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
enemies have like very little health, then yeah, it really doesn't matter. Like you can
Right.
shoot them and they're dead instantly, so you know that you're making progress because you blew them up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Something similar can be seen with if we go to the Lost World arcade and I load this one in. Um, when wow,
Taking a
perfect
shit.
timing. Um, skip ahead a little bit here. So you can see like with these raptors, it's same sort of thing. They don't have a health bar, they don't have a targeting reticle, they get killed immediately.
Right.
Um, so yeah, there's that. But we do get targeting reticles when there's like a timed event. Also when you're fighting, so like right there, you get those targeting reticles as that uh, motorcycle is like rolling towards you, right?
Right.
But yeah, not a whole lot of targeting reticles on the screen here. If we go back to the Star Wars game, um, because we use a similar targeting system, you can see these sort of like blue targets coming in, but you'll notice that at any given time, there's only like maybe up to 4 on the screen at a time.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Um, I think if we skip ahead to the battle over Endor, you're going to get quite a bit more. But
Right.
even then, it's like so here you've got like these TIE interceptors coming in and regular TIE fighters, but they're only coming in waves of 4, so it's not too busy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
also those
Mm-hmm.
targeting reticles are pretty small on the screen,
Right.
but there you got 8, and for a second there was 12. But there was kind of like 8 from the first wave and then 4 from the next wave. So there you go. That one was
Right. Right. Yeah.
a full 12.
Yeah.
But that's the maximum. Like it never gets more busy than that.
Right.
And if we go to the Battle of Hoth, one of the things you'll notice here is that there are no targeting reticles. That you said when you're shooting these ATSTs and the ATATs, there aren't any targeting reticles until this like special moment where you need to
The
shoot the
boss.
head.
Yeah.
Um, and even the little probe droid there, like he doesn't have a targeting
Yeah.
reticle. And I think part of the reason for that is because these targets are so easy to see in
Yeah.
this environment, you don't really need it. But when you're
Sure.
looking at like a black and gray TIE fighter against a black starry sky,
Right.
you kind of need the targeting reticles assistance to be able to pick out those things, because otherwise they're like this tiny little black dot
Right.
on a black screen.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, all of that is just to say, I completely agree with you. I think it is busy. We have like cool stuff that we can work with,
Uh-huh.
but we definitely need to fine tune it and tweak it to serve the game. And and we should not feel bad about cutting any of that stuff. If we feel like, hey, this actually, as cool as it is, isn't helping the game, I'm
Mm-hmm.
totally cool with cutting it. Like that's not going to make me feel like, oh man, but I spent all this time programming it. Like
Right. Right. Right.
that's that's not the goal. The goal isn't to like show off Michael's programming skills. The goal is to make a cool game.
Right. Right. Right.
Um,
Amaze says great references to communicate your point, and yeah, I totally agree.
well,
So
thank
yeah,
you.
um, yeah, Michael, I think your point is definitely made, man. I'm very convinced. I mean, I would say, based off of what you just educated me, is that you don't need to have like health bars every moment of the game. We choose and pick at the certain moments of the game where it actually really needs it.
Exactly.
Cool, 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 cool.
Um, yeah. So there you go.
Yep.
Um, cool. Anything else regarding targeting reticles or anything else we want to see in here? I don't think I have anything else.
No, I think
Um,
that's great, dude.
cool.
You got the spider bot in. You made him rotate to track us. That's freaking awesome. And this is again, I want all the I don't want to lose any information, but at the same time, I trust your judgment, man. You're the programmer, you're the gamer, so I will follow your lead. I will only comment on the visuals to see if it's like, too busy or whatnot. But I think gameplay wise, it's like the ball's in your court, dude. And I think you're doing
Sure.
a freaking awesome job. And Captain Blue says
Well,
the
thank
Hoth walkers also shined red when you hit them, indicating a landed shot.
you.
Yeah,
Mm,
good observation,
good
Captain Blue Blue.
eye. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's yeah, that's great. Thank you for pointing that out. I didn't even
Mhm.
notice that.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you know it's really good design, is that it's invisible.
Yeah.
Well, another thing that we can do, I don't really have any updates in these scenes, but just because we got a couple of new people in the chat, we can kind of show them scene 4 and 3,
Nice.
because I think there's some kind of interesting stuff there. Um, in scene 3, actually, did I make changes that are worth saving? Sure. So in scene 3, the idea is that, well, basically the entire sort of story of the game in 60 seconds or less is you are part of this sort of like intergalactic defense force, and you get this distress call that's kind of like cutting in and out. You're not really sure, like, is that actually a distress call? Like, what is this? And it's coming from this like asteroid belt area. And so you go there to find out like what's going on. Turns out it's a mining colony that's under attack by these like this army of drones, and the drones are kind of invading and trying to take the resources that the mining colony is extracting from this asteroid field.
Mm.
Um, and so in scene 1, you arrive into the asteroid field, and that's when you realize, like, oh, this is why the signal was cutting in and out, is because the drones are here and they're jamming the SOS signal that the colony has been trying to send. So then you start fighting the drones, and as you fly further into the asteroid field, getting into scene 2, you realize, like, okay, here are the different, like, installations in this asteroid area where you can kind of see some of these models here that Chris made for us. Basically different structures that have been built into the different asteroids where we're kind of like mining and refining the stuff that's coming out of them, and they're all under attack, so we are going in to kind of like try to fight off the drones and defend the colonists. From there, there's a giant asteroid sort of like in the background that you eventually fly to, and it's so big it's basically a small planet, which is what scene 3 is. So you have this like huge planet or planet-sized asteroid, and to see our ship, if I zoom in, you can see that's our little ship right there. That's how big he is compared to the asteroid.
It was a
Oh,
lot bigger. It was a lot bigger
it was yeah,
before.
it was even bigger than that originally.
Yes.
But yeah, there's our guy right there. And this scene was extremely technically difficult to figure out because the particular rail system that we're using in Unity, this rail system right here that you can see in green, hates going upside down. The original idea was that you would fly around the entire 360-degree rotation of this planetoid. But because this rail system doesn't like turning upside down, we had to come up with a different way to do it. And the solution was like, okay, well, what if we rotate the planet underneath the player's ship and then rotate the skybox, and that'll make the player feel like they're actually flying over this asteroid. So I think if I hit play, I think everything might be set up for that to happen. You kind of get a rough idea. Like there's still some bugs here, but the general idea is this, where you've got the planet that's rotating underneath you. It looks like you're flying over the whole thing. And there's some clipping here because I haven't fine-tuned it, mostly because this scene was so difficult to figure out. But if I come out into the actual like editor here, you can see that this isn't really moving in space at all, and the ship has like stopped moving on the rail. I'll click back over here for a second. So yeah, you can see the ship. He's kind of like moving along the rail right there where these like crosshairs are lining up, and the asteroid is kind of following the ship and rotating underneath it.
Yeah.
Um, Even though that rail is not going upside down in any way, when you play this, it looks and feels like you are, flying over the horizon of the
Yeah.
asteroid.
Yeah, good
Um,
job figuring this out.
Thank you.
It's pretty clever, and I think you're a genius for figuring out how to, do all this programming. That's insane.
Thanks.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that was super hard. And I
Yeah.
think if I set the player rig, set the speed down to 0 so it doesn't move. Actually, what I think what I do is I'll just detach this. Yeah, so now we've basically, I've taken it off the rail so you can just see the ship there. And then what's the rotation? Let's zero out the rotation. So the cool thing is that the asteroid rotates relative to the ship. So and this took like 2 weeks to figure out. We basically needed the asteroid to always be rotating in alignment with the direction that the player's ship was facing. So here you can see like this is correct. And then if I rotate the ship this way, we need the asteroid to also turn and rotate that way. If I rotate the ship this way, it needs to rotate and turn that way.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's basically what's happening technically under the hood in this scene to like make that work. There's still some other technical hurdles we have to overcome, but that was the big one, and I think now it's just a matter of kind of getting these pieces to all kind of like fit together.
Right. That's
So that's
awesome.
scene 3.
Nice. And Coley Butt is here. Sorry, she says sorry I'm late.
Yay,
Was
Coley
working
Butt.
on my resume. Hey, no worries at all. Take all the time you need. Take all the time you need.
Yeah,
But
and
yes,
glad you're here,
welcome.
Coley Butt, because
Yeah.
Tavern Trivia is for you this week. You and Captain Blue Blue. We've got horror movies and Swedish themes in our trivia, so stay tuned.
Oh God, I don't know anything about Swedish things.
Neither did I, but I was really surprised at how many well-known Swedish actors there are.
Ah,
Yeah, so
interesting.
we'll check that out.
Nice.
Finally, let's take a look at scene 4, where you're going to get to see some really cool assets that Chris made for the game. So scene 4 is basically once you have traveled around that giant asteroid, there's going to be a little like porthole that you can go into and then start going into the interior of that asteroid. And you're going to be flying through these like very close quarters tunnels and things. And I think if I just hit play, you'll kind of get an idea of like what's going on in there. Yeah, so here's like one of those tunnels. I'm going to kind of go a little bit fast because I made it pretty long. But you're going to be in here fighting these drones. That drone's got a bug. It didn't have a target. And I think I've shut off a lot of the drones in here. But yeah, so do you want to talk through some of the tunnel decisions here, Chris, since these are your babies?
Sure, sure. Essentially, what I had to do was I created um, pieces of the tunnel corridor, if you will, and it's kind of like Lego blocks, creating all the Lego blocks so that Michael has pieces to play around with and make any type of what is it track that he wants to and any type of gameplay that we feel that it is fun. Currently what you guys are looking at right now is just the outer shell, and this is not the final look. After we are done with the hero as well as the robot models, I will start to populate all the various interior scenes as well as exterior scenes, because right now again this is all empty. But when I start populating, putting doors and obstructions. I can't talk.
Obstruction.
Obstructions, yeah. For example, that thing that he's shooting at right there, just just stuff that we have to weave in and dodge out of. There's going to be a lot more content in there. So yeah, essentially this is scene 4, and it's all about getting from scene 3 to scene 5, and this is more or less scene 4. Before it was like a very short scene, but then Michael and I realized like, holy crap, this is actually a really dynamic type of feel. We're going through tunnels and everything, so or we're gonna play to that, and yeah, that's all I have to say about this. Um, it's very exciting to just build one to two to three to four pieces, and Michael's able to create this awesome flight path, and I think it's gonna be cool. One thing I want to ask you, Michael,
Sure.
how are you lighting the interior right now? Cause I guess we'll get to that later. But how are you lighting this right now? And how is this like being lit? I just
Interesting.
yeah.
Right now I have a single directional light. It's just like a
Uh-huh.
master sun in this environment that's lighting everything. So that light's just the default pervasive light. So I haven't done anything with the lighting.
And I'm curious, is light bleeding through because we only have that, you know, it's only one-sided. If we made it two-sided, I'm curious if there's any light that will
Oh,
bleed through. Do you know what I mean?
that's interesting. Oh, I think I've got the two-sided one in
Yeah.
here.
Do you mind putting in the
Not at
two-sided?
all.
I'm so
Give me a
curious.
second to find it. Scene imports, scene
Cause yeah,
4, double
chat,
manual.
like lighting itself is also like a whole other department. Cause creating the assets, texturing the assets, but lighting the assets is also something that I need to figure out as well. Um, yeah, whenever we watch a Pixar film, we take take for granted that everything that's in the scene is so beautifully lit, but in actuality, someone had to take time and energy in order to light the scene in a beautiful way. Um,
Give me just a second here. I'm gonna
yeah,
create a little track for us to fly
yeah,
around.
yeah. So that's why I'm asking. Bring this is just for me because I know that I'm gonna have to deal with this sooner or later. Because in order to light something inside, because this is all going to be an interior scene, and yeah, like because I'm actually working on some interior or even exterior lighting. Like for example, scene 5, where everything is inside of this asteroid fuel colony, and and everything's all dark until I put a light in there. So.
But yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten this running through here just yet, but you can already kind of see. Um,
Well, actually, Michael, I don't think you need to put a track in there. I'm just curious, if uh,
I just
if you
fly
just
through
go
here like
inside,
this.
yeah. So,
Yeah,
okay,
it looks darker.
okay, all
And there
right,
is
all
some
right.
like light thing
Bleed,
happening there. And
yeah,
granted, Unity's probably not completely rendering the way it would look, because you can see, yeah, the light at the
right,
end there. Like you can see at the end of the tunnel, it looks like, oh,
uh-huh,
it's bright right now. But then as I
right,
fly towards it, it's darker. So yeah, I think you might be right. It's probably because those things aren't double-sided. But
yeah,
there are ways for us to get around that. We can put like an encapsulating object around the single-sided one, because really the single-sided one is, in terms of like building the level, is so much easier than dealing with this thing, because
yeah,
obviously I can't even see the rail that's in there right now
yeah,
to work with. So, but I think it should be as easy as just like, if I take this plane and duplicate it and then bring that up above here and then hit play again, now it should be darker. Yeah. So like if I
mm-hmm.
take this plane and turn it off, see how much I'm toggling it on and off. You can see a little bit there.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I think that definitely has something to do with it, but we can certainly play with the lighting to get it to where we want it to be.
nice,
Okie dokie.
very cool.
Uh,
Thanks, man.
yeah, sure. Okay, that's gonna do it for Unity stuff. Uh, the next thing that I wanted to share, let me get it queued up, is Rail Shooter game design. Okay, so let's go to here, go to this one. Let me close this Unity thing. Sure. Okay, so basically, what I did is as I've been starting to think about the transition from building systems to using those systems to actually create the levels. I wanted to kind of wrap my brain around, okay, what are the different types of encounters we should be having with the enemies? Because that's really the entire game is just built around these moments where you're engaging drones, basically.
Uh-huh, right.
Um, and I went back and looked at all the different references that we kind of looked at earlier, and there's kind of like these different cadences to each individual type of enemy that you fight. So, like in the Jurassic Park game, when you're going up against the Triceratops, you're moving backwards, they're charging towards you, and if they get to you, you take damage. You also like get staggered up into the air, and that's kind of the way that particular type of enemy interaction goes. if you are going up against like the T-Rex,
Hmm.
it's a little bit similar where you're moving backwards, the T-Rex is chasing you, but you've got this like limited window of opportunity to do enough damage to the T-Rex before
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
gets to you to like stagger it. And then you have like a little bit of a breather. Or when you're traveling forward, they have these like velociraptors that kind of jump out at you, and they're like leaping through the air, and you have to shoot them in midair before they get to you, otherwise you take damage. Um, anyway, the point of all that is just to say that the game start to finish, even though it feels like, oh yeah, I'm just aiming at the screen and shooting stuff. Um, there is variation to the different enemy patterns that mix things up and actually make it fun and engaging and doesn't feel like it's the same thing over and over and over again for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever it is. Um, so I looked at that and I made some notes, and then I kind of like organized my thoughts into a couple of these charts that we're going to look at, these sort of like diagrams. And this first one is kind of just to explain what the diagram, like what the different pieces are. Basically, imagine this is a top-down view. We got our little player ship. I think you can see my mouse cursor, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. So we got a little player ship here, and then these cardinal arrows tell you what direction we're flying. So in this particular case, that one is solid, so we're flying forward. The rear one would be solid if we were flying backwards. This like gray cone here is sort of like the very rough approximation of the cone of vision, because the actual field of view of the ship is, I think, quite a bit wider than this. But just to give you an idea for the diagrams, when something is outside of that cone of vision, it's off screen. The player can't see it. So then when it
Right.
comes into the cone of vision, you'll know like, oh, okay, now the player can see it. And then each of these sort of like horizontal lines represents a distance in front of the player. Because one of the things that I noticed in the reference material is that some enemies will like jump in from the side, and they're going to be like right in your face, and so then you've got to react quickly to take them out. Other enemies will be really far away, and they'll kind of hang out there for a little while, and you'll have a limited amount of time to take them out before they then rush towards you. um, so depending on the enemy's attack pattern, the distance that they are from the player when they spawn in and the distance that they move to is pretty important.
Hmm.
And so we basically have these are the things that are nearer to the player. This is kind of like in the middle, and these things are very far. And then at the bottom here, this is like when things appear behind the player, because that happens too. In a
Oh
lot of
wow.
those cases, they'll appear behind the player, but then move in front of the player.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so in addition to that, some of the other things you're going to see in here are enemies. So I've got this sort of like symbol for enemies, and then there's a slightly different one for like just obstacles and obstructions. And then the dotted line here, this dotted arrow, is the flight path. So this is like where the enemy, and then the gray here is like this is where they spawn in. The flight path is where they move to, and then that's kind of like where they roughly end up. And in most cases, they're moving with the player, but not always. So a couple of the ideas that I started putting down was like, and I've got like a rough sort of catchy name up in the top right to kind of help
Mm.
me remember like, oh yeah, this is what this attack pattern is. So in this case, players moving forward. These are like the leapfroggers, which we actually saw when we were looking at scene one. The enemies spawn in behind the player and then kind of like zoom around into the front, into the player's cone of vision, and then they'll be flying backwards and like trying to
Hmm.
attack the player
Hmm.
that way.
Nice.
Um, we also have the chargers. These are guys who actually spawn in way in the distance, and then they rush towards the player. And if the player
Right.
doesn't take them out in time, then the player takes damage.
Right.
Um, these guys would be flankers. So rather than spawning in the distance and coming towards the player, they actually spawn in off screen on the sides and kind of move in horizontal or
Hmm.
perpendicular to the player, and then attack them. I think this is going to be perfect for the missile drones, because they can kind of come
Oh
in from
yeah.
the side, and then either the missile drone and or the laser drone come in from the side and like slowly start rotating towards the player to like get locked on. You got to take them out before they get that lock on and do damage to you. Um, okay, so now I've flipped this around to kind of like indicate that the player is now traveling backwards. So you can see directional arrow, we're moving in that direction, but the player is facing behind.
Right.
And so this is kind of the same thing as the side flankers, but the cool thing with those ones is we could actually do them both front and back, or forwards and backwards, and kind of get different, slightly different variation on that same sort of thing. Moving back to going forward, in this case, these are roadblocks, so these aren't
Nice.
moving towards the player. They're just in the player's path, and the player's moving towards them, so the player
Right.
needs to shoot them before they get there. This would be something probably like the asteroid field is probably going to be a section where we're going to have some of these things.
Right.
But we could also do the reverse, where the player is flying backwards, but in this case, those obstacles would need to be moving towards the player. So these would be things that are like pursuing the player. You could, one of the things that to visualize like an example, we can imagine in like scene 4, the tunnel scenes where we're flying through those sort of like close quarters tunnels. If we are flying backwards and we kind of like fly over the edge of a tunnel, and now we're kind of flying down, and maybe there's like some, I don't know, scaffolding or paneling above us that starts to fall. Now it's falling towards us, and we have to shoot it before it gets to us and injures us. But these could just as easily also be enemies that are charging and trying to like ram you, or yeah, something like. I mean, heck, maybe we could even do like the spider drones like leaping towards you, and you have to like
Oh
shoot
yeah.
them out of the air before they get there. I don't know.
Right.
Okay, spitters. These are the things that will like the missile drones. They'll come in from the sides or wherever, and then they themselves emit a projectile that comes toward the player. The player
Right.
has to shoot the projectile out of the sky.
Cool.
These I call bumper fodder. I made them really small and put a whole bunch on there because these are things that like have very little health. Their only advantage or their only strategy is to try to like overwhelm you with numbers to like swarm attack all at once. So yeah, that's kind of what those guys do.
Nice.
And then finally, the strafers. So in this case, like when the player's ship is actually moving sideways and you're, flying to the left or to the right, these guys can come in and kind of like fly alongside you. And they can come in from the direction that you're traveling or from the direction that you are moving away from. Yeah. So anyway, this was just a way for, and that's the last one. This was just a way for me to kind of like put down on basically kind of like a whiteboard representation of like, okay, here are the different design patterns I want to try. Let me see if I can get these working, see which ones are fun, see which ones need additional programming, and use this as sort of like a basis, like a foundation for moving into starting to put some actual enemy encounters, encounter moments into the game.
Nice. Captain Blue says this is very interesting and well structured, Michael. Chargers are scary
Thank you.
because they will crash into you. How will you integrate the chargers with the fact that they have lasers who can start to shoot way before they are close?
Yes, good question. So I've been thinking a lot about this, and I think the in given my limited programming ability and experience, and the way these games typically work, what I think the primary way that the game is going to behave is when enemies come onto screen, you're going to have a limited amount of time to take them out before they do damage to you. So with like the typical T drones, they're going to kind of come in and really they're going to, because we want the T drones to be the base enemy and to be pretty easy, they're going to kind of put themselves right in the middle of your crosshairs and kind of hang out for a second. And if you don't take them out fast enough, then they're going to shoot you and do damage to you. With enemies that are charging you, for those, it's kind of the same idea, but instead of actually shooting you, they're going to like collide with you. In the case of like asteroids or obstacles, then that's kind of what's going to happen. In the case of something like the missile drones, the thing that's going to collide with you is going to be the missiles that they're shooting. Otherwise, the vast majority of the enemies, their behavior will be one of two things. Either they're going to actually move towards you with their body or some other body that's going to then collide with you and you'll take damage. Otherwise, wherever they are, they're going to kind of stay in that position, and if you don't take them out after a certain amount of time, then they're going to shoot you. So then it really doesn't matter if they're close to you or far away from you. If you haven't taken them out in time, you're going to take damage. But good question.
Yeah.
Hopefully that answered it.
Thank you, Captain Lulu.
Okay. The last thing I want to touch on before we move on to tavern trivia is I had a conversation with Chris. Was it just yesterday? Might have just been
God,
yesterday.
I don't know, man.
It's all a blur.
It's all a blur to me, dude.
Um, I had a conversation with Chris about, hey, as I was going through and making these diagrams of all these different types of like enemy attack patterns, I realized like, man, we have way more patterns in here, possible patterns in here than we have enemy types. But I don't want to add additional scope to the game. Would it be possible for us to do something kind of clever and that somebody else has figured out and we're just borrowing from, and create new enemy types using existing assets? And the idea was it was inspired by Halo, which if you played Halo, you know that that the enemies that you're fighting are the Covenant, and they're this collection of different aliens. And there's one particular type of alien you go up against who are pretty tough, probably the coolest of the bunch, and those are the elites. And the elites, even though they're all the same species, they have different rankings, and those rankings. So like a low ranking elite, actually his shield isn't as strong. He's not quite as clever as some of his higher ranking counterparts. But then the higher ranking elites have huge shields that are really tough to break through. They throw lots of grenades. They dodge every attack. Like they're a real pain to fight. And then there are also some elites that are completely different than those guys. They have like cloaking abilities or sniper abilities or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that information is conveyed to the player is through color adjustments, and also in some cases there's like some minor cosmetic adjustments. But for our purposes, the most important thing is the color changes. So like on screen here, we've got on the far left that blue elite. He's like the lowest class that elites can get. One step up above him is the red elite to his right, which is he's got a little bit better of a shield. He's a little bit more capable. One step up above that is the white elites. These are the ultras. They have really strong shields. They're really tough, and so on and so forth. Basically everything that I just talked about. So the idea is that even though you have the same character model, essentially, you can create different enemy types just by changing the color palette. And so I pitched this to Chris. I said, "Hey, Chris, what do you think about doing this? Is this something we can do? Is this something that is going to cause a whole bunch of headache? Is it possible? Is it easy? Is it adding too much scope? What do you think?" And not to put you on the spot, but Chris said,
No, it's too much work. I can't do it. I can't.
and so we trashed the whole idea.
We trashed the whole
away.
idea, threw it away. We didn't want to do. No, obviously, I said, yeah, I'll give it a shot, Michael. I think it's a very, very smart thing to do. It's essentially, creating one object and then making one and then one object, but using it 6 times by indicating the various different colors of that scheme. And I told him I'll go ahead and I'll work on it, and I'll see if I can come up with something to show him and show you guys by Sunday. So if you guys are if you guys are free on Sunday, I will try my best to present a solution to this awesome idea that Michael has.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah.
Yep, no problem.
Really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
There you go.
No promises. No promises.
No promises. Under promise and over deliver.
That's right.
That's our motto.
Yeah.
Okay, so that concludes my game updates
Nice.
for this week. Let me go ahead and switch this back to my main camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what I worked on since we last talked. Not quite as much stuff in Unity this time, but pulling away and spending a little bit more time thinking about the overall game structure and game design and some of that stuff, because really those are like I'm realizing those are two completely, I mean, it's obvious those are two completely different roles,
Hmm.
but naively going into this thinking like, oh yeah, man, I could just do those two things simultaneously. Like it's going to be no problem. But it really is like two completely different headspaces. And so I have to, take off the programmer hat and then put
Yeah.
on the designer hat and just do those things independently and kind of like, feedback into each other. So
Yeah.
a little bit more design stuff this week.
One thing I do want to ask you, again,
Sure.
this is regarding the pieces in scene four.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say, because right now you're using the one-sided t assets, right? You can
Mm-hmm.
only see from the inside out, but not outside in. I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
you can only see from the outside in, but not inside out. Because when you're inside, you actually see the texture that's around you. But when you're outside, there's a backface culling that you don't really you could see through what is not textured on the outside. Because Unity apparently only has a one-sided geometry. If you have a flat plane, you can only see from one side and not the other. And that kind of presents a little bit of an issue. So my question to you is, if there is uh I if there is a huge issue, like I know you came up with the solution of just putting something on top of the geometry to block the sunlight,
Mm-hmm.
but if we had to replace everything that you laid out, let's just say those three pieces, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those three pieces are they're the double-sided version, correct?
Yes.
Okay, let's just say if those weren't the double-sided version, um, if you had to replace it with the double-sided version, would that be like, would you have to like redo the whole thing again, or is it just like replace asset with this, with asset A with asset B,
Ooh.
and then everything will swap out instantaneously, or are we gonna have to like take, all right, so the single sided doesn't work, we gotta put the double sided now, so do we have to like manually replace everything, or is there a way to say, all right, this container includes mesh A, let's swap it out with mesh B instead with the double sided. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you have
Yep.
okay? Is there an easy way to do that? Because I absolutely want to watch out for this in case if something does happen, I don't want to be like, oh shit, we have to redesign the whole thing, the whole level because we have to swap out the assets. Is there an easy way to do that?
No, there is not an easy way to do that.
Okay.
It's it would definitely be needing to like go in and either manually swap out everything and rebuild the whole thing. Um, there are certainly some shortcuts that I could take where I could just take an existing transform. Like so, for example, one of the things that you can do is if I click on this transform here, I can go up here to its transform, click on these little dots, and copy its like position or its world placement.
Hmm.
So then if I do that and then click on this guy, I can go up here and I can paste world placement, and you see he moves right into that exact position. So if I do
Oh, I
that,
see.
I can certainly move things around without having to like, do this
Oh,
number. Where I'm
right.
like, okay, let me
Right.
manually move that in there. I
Yeah.
could just paste things in. Granted, I would still have to do that for everything.
Every single. Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
it's also possible that I could write some code to do that automatically.
Hmm.
But again, that would be a whole little
Right.
like
Right.
mini
Right. Right.
project to
Right.
figure out how to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
If that's what we need to do, then that's what we need to do. Though I would say that my preference would be for us to use the single-sided one and then
Okay.
do whatever janky thing we need to do to like if we need to put this whole thing in its own tube or tunnel or add additional stuff around it to achieve the effect that we're going for. Kind of like in the theme park thing, right? Where we like in a dark ride, we turn out all the lights, and there's all kinds of gack up in the ceiling
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
not part of the experience. But it doesn't matter because the player can't see that, or
Right.
the guest can't see that. Um, I'd rather do that because it's so much easier to build things when I can just
Yep.
be inside them.
Yeah.
Um, but if we need to do the double-sided thing, we'll figure it out.
Okay. Okay. Because yeah, now that I'm thinking about lighting, that's kind of scaring me. I want to make sure that lighting works when we're
Mm-hmm.
when we're there. Captain Blue Blue says a quick way to do is through the materials, paint the color field white, and then the material in Unity over the texture with the desired color, many color variants, one texture. Yep, got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And he also says, if that's the problem, Unity per default, I think, renders directional light to ignore back facing. In the mesh renderer, there's a button to make it render as two-face. I
Oh,
act I actually try to look for that, Captain Blue Blue. Uh, maybe
global, mm, cast shadows,
yeah.
materials.
I try to look for something like that, but I myself can't. I didn't find it. But again,
Yeah, I would assume that it would have
I'm,
been right here.
yeah.
Oh, two-sided?
Cast shadows, two-sided. Wait,
Oh,
that's
that's
cast
cast
shadows.
shadows. Never mind,
Yeah,
that's not what I want.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
lighting.
But anyways,
Um,
we'll definitely be cognizant of it when we're designing the level, because yeah,
sure.
lighting is definitely a thing, because technically everything should be black, like when you're going through the
Mm.
tunnel, because we don't have any light in there. It honestly, it should just be total darkness. um
Well, yeah, I mean, one thing that we could do, I think if I just do this, well, my Unity is like creating some kind of, so I just turn that
Ambient
light off,
light.
but it's still creating some kind of, I don't know, sunset-like atmosphere. But now it should be pretty dark in here. And then if we were to go in and add lights, let me grab this panel here. Oh man, I don't have any room.
Yeah.
Here we go. Light, point light. Slow guy, density.
Oh yeah, I see something.
Yeah, a little, tiny little something there. Well, let's just see what that looks like. Nope, he's not intense
Yeah,
enough.
yeah.
Let's try 500. Density indirect multiplier. Well, I don't know if we're going to get to what we
Yeah.
are looking
Yeah.
for here because I'm not a
Oh, there we go.
lighting. I haven't played enough with lighting to know how to
Yeah.
get this to do what I
Yeah.
want it to do.
Yeah.
Fractional.
Yeah, no, same with me, because I'm very
Hmm.
unfamiliar with the whole lighting system in Unity, so that's why I wanna make sure.
But we will figure it out.
We
I
will
have
figure
every
it out.
confidence.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. And
Okie
Captain
dokie.
Blue says there should be an option like that. I think it is cast shadow you want. Okay. We'll definitely take a look at it a little bit later. But yeah, that's something for us to figure out. And we will figure it out because we have to. Lighting is so important. They have a whole
That's
department on lighting at Pixar, so it's
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a problem for future Chris and Michael to figure out. Not
Yeah,
today.
let them worry about. Ah.
Alrighty. All right. Well,
Ah.
so if nothing else, we can certainly get into some tavern trivia, but I need a quick break before we do
Okay.
that. All right. So I will be right back.
Yeah, cool. And I will be right back too, guys. I'll be right back. Give us like 2 minutes. All right. Yeah.
Okie dokie. Guess I need to reopen that.
Hey guys, we're back.
Hello.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here. Captain Blue Blue, Cookie, Coley Butt. Yeah, you guys are all here. We're very, very happy to have you here.
Yeah. Welcome in.
Welcome, welcome. And if Fluff the Nam as well as Amaze Tutu is still in here, thank you guys for being here too. And welcome to the Creative Tavern.
Okie dokie. So I'm going to click over to here, I think. Is that working? Yeah, great. Okay.
Ooh, trivia
All
time,
right.
guys.
Time for Tavern Trivia.
Yeah.
So this week we've got a supersized set of questions for you. Normally we do 5, but this week we've got 8, and they are a combination of themes. It's movies or horror movies and Swedish movies / Swedish actors. Per Coleybutt's request for horror movies and Captain Blue Blue's request for a Swedish theming. I have to apologize to Captain Blue Blue. I tried to do just like straight up Swedish movies, but I was so unfamiliar with most of them. I was like, oh man, I don't know anything about these movies. I don't think I've seen any of these movies. But there was at least one Swedish horror movie that's very popular that ends up in tonight's trivia. But I will say, I was surprised by how many really great like actors that I am familiar with who actually were Swedish. I was like, oh wow, got a lot of good actors coming out of Sweden. So
Nice.
there you go. All right. So who's playing tonight? We've got 4 slots that we can fill up, and if we need to split into teams, we can.
Well, I think we got 4 players. We got 4 people right now
Sweet.
currently in the chat. Heavy is in here. Yeah, Heavy. How you doing, man? Okay,
Heavy, welcome.
let's go ahead and slide these guys in. Let's put Captain Blue Blue in. Let's put Coley Butt in. Let's put Cookie in, as well as Gentleman Heavy in. And I could just talk. I don't need to need to be on the board. I'll just talk.
Okay, Killer Cookie 101. All right, so I got Captain Blue Blue, Coley Butt, Killer Cookie, and who was the last one?
Heavy? Gentleman Heavy?
Heavy. Perfect.
All right. Are you guys ready? This is awesome.
Fantastic. Okay, so trivia, how does it work? Yes, so the way this is going to work is basically you're going to get presented with a question, and actually, can I, Yeah, so it's basically the screen's going to look kind of like this. Up here in the top left, we're instead of player 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're going to have you lovely folks are going to have your names on the board here. For every question you get right, you get 1 point. For every question you miss, you don't get any points. There's no way to lose points. You're going to be presented with a question. Each question's got 4 possible answers. You let us know which one you want to pick. We'll put it in, and then once everybody's answers are in, we'll show the answer, and whoever got it correct gets a point. Whoever has the most points by the end of the game wins.
Nice. And I just want to say, if there is anyone else in the chat who wants to play, let me know, and I will keep score for you. You won't be on the board, but at least I can keep track for you, and then you can still be part of the game. So if you want to play, please let me know in the chat right now, or else we will go ahead and start. Go ahead, Michael.
Coley, but throwing shade to Rando. Like,
no,
Rando,
shit.
let's go.
Oh shit.
Yeah. I didn't realize that adding Rando to the game was going to become such a nemesis for us.
Yeah,
but
man.
It's fun. All right, so if we're ready, we'll get started.
Let's go! Come on, guys.
All right, question number 1. In the Saw movies, Jigsaw, who's the main villain, is played by Tobin Bell. What sci-fi TV show did Bell also appear in? Hint, he appeared in only 1 episode. Is it A, Battlestar Galactica, B, Stargate SG-1, C, Star Trek, or D, The Expanse? And as an extra little hint, I specifically picked this because somebody involved has mentioned liking that show. And I know there are multiples on here, so I know that that's not giving away too much.
I don't know who you're talking to. Are you talking to me or are you talking to someone else?
Who
Ah, damn
knows?
it. Damn it. Uh, well, let me see. Well,
This one's sorry.
if you're
Go ahead.
if you're talking to me, and then I will give my answer. Right there. Do you want me to do you want to know the answer or do you want me to shut up or not to say
No,
anything?
no, no. I mean, you're playing too.
Oh,
Like you
okay.
don't know what the
Uh,
answers
uh,
are. I did all
uh
this in private, so so
you
Chris
might.
has no idea what the answers are, folks.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's just as surprised as you guys are.
I'm just as surprised. I don't know if that comment that you made at the end was for me or for someone else. Because I also know that we talked about Stargate SG-1 as well. Someone here likes Stargate SG-1. We didn't talk about Star Trek. We didn't talk about The Expanse. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna go with B, just
All
'cause
right, Chris says B.
I
All
say
right,
B.
Coley Butt says C. Oh wait, no, A. All right, so Coley Butt, player number 3. Coley Butt says A. Captain Blue Blue says B. Killer Cookie says B? Question mark. And Gentleman Heavy says, I'm gonna go with A. Final answer. All right, here we go. And Chris said B, right?
I said B. Yeah.
And the answer is ding, ding, ding. It is
Yeah!
Stargate SG-1. Good
It was a
call.
it was a trick. You tried to trick me. You were
I
talking
did.
to
Yeah, it didn't
you were
work.
talking you were talking to someone else because someone else in the
Uh-huh.
chat I remember said they also love Stargate SG-1. So
Yep.
yeah, you screw you. You tried to trick me putting Battlestar Galactica on there. Ah!
Man, I thought I could get you. But
Yeah.
yeah, it turns out that this actor, Tobin Bell, is in one episode. I think the episode was called Enigma or something. Um, and yeah, he was in Stargate SG-1. I was like, oh wow, because folks in the chat had mentioned that. So I was like, oh, fun fact. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, 1 point for me, bitches. Woo!
Good job, Killer Cookie and Captain Blue Blue.
Yeah.
All right, next question. What future Pirates of the Caribbean star also appears in the 1984 classic Nightmare on Elm Street? Is it A, Johnny Depp, B, Orlando Bloom, C, Keira Knightley, or D, Geoffrey Rush? I don't know if this
Uh
one's going to be really easy or really hard. I guess it depends on if you've seen Nightmare on Elm Street recently.
I never seen Nightmare on Elm Street, but I know that 1984 Orlando Bloom, Keira Knightley are way too young. Um,
Mm,
and Jeffrey Rush is of age. And Johnny Depp is uh I don't think he was old enough to in that. So I'm gonna go with D.
okay. Chris says D. Coleybutt says A. Coleybutt is player 3.
Nightmare on
I
Elm
love
Street.
listening to your uh, inner monologue out loud
Uh-huh.
about like how you're reasoning through it. It's fascinating.
It's like you dumbass. You don't know what you're talking about, Chris. Like, oh no.
Oh,
Oh God,
well, let's
everyone's
see.
going with A?
Everyone's
What are you
going with
guys
A.
doing?
Captain Blue Blue
No.
says A.
Oh
Captain Blue
God,
Blue
do I
says
want to
2.
conform? Uh,
Killer Cookie says A? Question mark.
I'm gonna go with
And
D. I'm gonna go with D. Screw all you
stick
guys.
to your guns.
I'm sticking to my guns. Ah.
What say ye, gentlemen heavy? You want to fall in with everybody else and pick A, or do you trust Chris's reasoning and judgment? You want to go with D, or your own choice? Gentleman's Heavy says, I want to say it's A, but I'll go D. Final answer. Good man. Sticking
All
with
right.
Chris.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
Let's see if it
If we
paid off.
if we get it wrong, I'm sorry. If we get it right, high five.
Johnny
Oh
Depp.
no, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry,
Now,
Heavy.
when we get to the end of the game, Gentleman Heavy, if you didn't win, you can blame Chris.
Damn it. I'm so sorry. Why? I mean, wow, I had no idea.
Yeah. And
What?
he looks like a baby in it. Like he looks like he's 12 or something. But yeah, and he's got a pretty big part. Like he's one of the main characters, like one of the main kids who are part of the group. He's not the star, but
Uh-huh,
yeah, he's
uh-huh.
in it.
I thought it was a
And
trick question.
yeah, no,
So Captain Blue Blue says, he got eaten by the bed and made a blood
yeah.
fountain.
Oh yeah, it's yeah. His
What?
death scene is pretty graphic, but it's
What?
cool.
All right. All right.
Uh,
I'm
good
I- I'm
job,
I'm sorry,
Cookie,
guys.
Captain Blue Blue, Coley
I'm
Butts.
sorry, Heavy. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I'm sorry, too heavy.
Uh,
All right, next question.
Next question.
In the Halloween movies, Michael Myers wears a white mask, which is actually a famous celebrity mask. Who is the celebrity? Is it A, Bill Clinton, B, Michael Jackson, C, Dustin Hoffman, or D, William Shatner?
I'm gonna shut the hell up because I don't want to influence the answer and get it wrong for you guys. So I'm gonna shut up until I'm gonna wait until you guys give your answers.
Chris is
Yeah,
gonna.
I feel bad.
What is it called in Millionaire where they like poll the audience or something?
Oh, ask the audience
Yeah,
or
there you go.
is that what that is?
Chris
Yeah.
is using one of his lifelines. He's gonna ask the audience.
Yeah, yeah.
D, absolute final answer. And D, wow, we're feeling pretty confident about D here. So
No.
Gentleman Heavy says D, absolute final answer. Butt also says D, and Killer Cookie says D, I don't know, and Captain Boobly says D. Wow, everybody went with D. Wow.
A-
All right,
And
Chris, well,
actually I will also go with D because I know this I've heard this trivia before on another trivia show that I usually watch, movie trivia show. So and this question has been pulled and I'm pretty positive is a William Shatner. Yep.
you are all correct. It is William
Yeah.
Shatner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very specifically, it's like uh a Captain Kirk mask. I don't
Mhm.
know if they modified it in some way, but yeah, fun fact, and I guess like for a long time we didn't. It was a rumor, but we didn't know for sure. But then like some people who had worked on the set, uh, like one guy knew the prop guy, and so he called him and had him like read off the model number that was on the inside of the mask, and they matched it up and were like, oh yeah, it's totally that Captain Kirk mask. Huh.
Mm-mm-mm. That's cool. That's cool.
So
And
wow, good
yeah.
job, guys.
And Cully
Everybody knew
Butt
that.
says, "Let's go." Cookie says, "I had no idea." And Blue Blue says, "They painted the face white." And Cookie says,
So they
"Thanks,
did
guys."
modify it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well played, man. Cookie and Captain Blue Blue, 3 for 3, I think.
Oh man. Oh, they're
On fire.
nice. Yeah.
All right, next
Again, I'm
question.
sorry. I'm sorry, Gentleman Heavy. Next question.
Okay, and now we're starting to see some of the Swedish questions, so maybe Captain Blue Blue is going to have a little bit of an edge here.
Oh God.
Famous Swedish actress Rebecca Ferguson does not appear in one of the following horror/thriller movies. Which one is it? A, Doctor Sleep, B, Drowning Ghost, C, The Snowman, or D, A Quiet Place?
Who the hell's
Which one
Rebecca
is she not
Ferguson?
in? Rebecca Ferguson. Did you see the Mission Impossible, like the most recent Mission Impossible movies?
Nope.
Did you
I have
see Dune?
no. I didn't see you doing yet. Sorry.
Uh, those were the biggest things she was in recently that I can
Yeah.
remember.
I I
You
don't
would
know.
know her face if you saw her.
Okay.
I mean, you're welcome to do a quick Google search. Like,
No,
I don't think that's
that's
gonna
not
be
fair.
cheating.
That's not fair. I'm
Just
not
go
gonna
straight to like Rebecca Ferguson images.
All
Don't
right.
look at
All
the
right.
like regular search results.
I have Michael's blessing. All right, Rebecca
And Gentleman Heavy says, I have the
Ferguson.
mask and a colored Shatner mask too. Wow, that's so cool.
Okay, I am looking at her face right now. She's pretty, but I don't recognize her at all.
Wow, really? Oh my gosh.
I don't recognize her at all. I never
That
seen her before in my life.
surprises me. Yeah, she's been, well, yeah, I guess if you haven't seen those movies, then you wouldn't know, but she's been really blowing up lately. She's in a lot of stuff.
Oh,
All right, Killer Cookie says A. Doctor Sleep. All right. Captain Blue Blue is not sure if he should answer yet. Maybe want to give everybody else a chance. Coley Butt says, D? Coley Butt, player 3. Quiet Place. Killer Cookie says, changing mind. B, final answer. Okay. All right, Gentleman Heavy, what say ye? Rebecca Ferguson's not in one of these movies. Which one do you think it is? Gentleman Heavy says D. Alrighty. And Captain Blue Blue, think D, but not sure. All right, quite a few for D here. All right, final answers locked in. Here we go. And the answer is it was D, A
Oh,
Quiet Place.
wow. Nice.
And I tried to trick you guys because I thought like, oh man, Rebecca Ferguson and because Emily Blunt stars in A Quiet
Uh-huh,
Place. I was like,
uh-huh, uh-huh,
maybe
uh-huh.
some people might mix. I mean, they don't look that similar, but
They're
I
both
thought
white
maybe,
women.
yeah, exactly. So I thought like, maybe people would be like, A Quiet Place. Was that Emily Blunt or was that Rebecca Ferguson? But you guys are too sharp. All right, next question.
Next
Another
question.
Swedish question. Which famous Swedish actor appeared in the original Insomnia from 1997, which was a Norwegian film, I think, not the 2002 American remake starring Robin Williams? Was it A, Stellan Skarsgård, B, Numi Rapace, C, Max von Sydow, or D, Michael Persbrandt? And in case none of these names look familiar, Chris, I'm sure you've seen most of these people. If you look up their name, Stellan Skarsgård for sure you should know because you're a
Oh
Marvel fan and he's in the Marvel
God.
movies.
I don't know,
Um,
man. Hold on.
the other ones, if you did a Google search for their images, their faces, I think you would for sure know some of them.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. All right.
And in the chat, Colibet says, I think Drowning Ghost is Swedish. Yes, that was a Swedish movie that Rebecca Ferguson was also in. Killer Cookie says, oh, wait, yeah, I was thinking of Bird Box, not Quiet Place. Yeah. Well, there we go. My trick at least worked on Cookie. It kind of mixed things up in your brain there. Captain Blue Blue says, Drowning Ghost is really called Stranvaskarin? Am I pronouncing that right? Hopefully I'm not butchering your language. Okay, so Killer Cookie says A, Stellan Skarsgård, for the famous Swedish actor who appeared in the original Insomnia, but not the American remake. Fun fact, the American remake was actually directed by Christopher Nolan, who
Oh,
did,
oh, oh, wow.
yeah, right?
Oh.
Captain Blue says, close enough. Thank you. And you'll have to forgive me. There's at least one question in here with a couple of other Swedish names that I'm sure I'm going to completely bungle. So please forgive. Gentleman Heavy says, I recognize only one of the names, so let's go with A. Gentleman Heavy, player 4, A. Colibet, damn, D. I don't know. Colibet, player 3, D. And Captain Blue Blue, what say ye? Famous Swedish actor.
I'm gonna go with C because I only know Max von Sydow. That's like the only name that I recognize.
Mm-hmm.
Plus I think he was in Star Wars?
Yes, he was
Yeah,
in The
right?
Force Awakens.
Yeah, he was the guy that got cut down by Kylo Ren.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Good memory.
Yeah.
All right, Captain Blue says, I recognize all of them. Not 100%, but I'm going A. Fun fact, Stellan is a bunch of asterisks name here. Huh?
Huh?
I don't
He
know what
said,
that means.
fun fact, Stellan is usually a girl's name here.
Oh, why is it like, oh, it's like censored for me.
Why? Oh, really? It's
Discriminatory message blocked? What?
what?
Yeah, I
No,
can't see it.
well, that's so weird. I see it. I see it on my chat as well as on the website chat. Well, that's
Huh.
weird. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, it
maybe
is. It is blocked on on my iPhone. Oh, that's weird.
interesting.
You're
Weird.
typing
Okay.
naughty stuff, Captain Blue Blue.
Yeah. Okay, so Captain Blue Blue says, what did we say?
He said
A?
A.
I'm going A. Fun fact. Okay, yeah, weird. Just name. It is, yeah, that is weird. It's like overly sensitive filtering
Yeah,
controls.
that was the first time I've seen that. That was weird.
All right, we're locked in here. You
Brrr.
press on the stars and accept it. Oh, okay, is that how I do that? Okay, I'll do that in a second. All right, so let's see what the answer was. Ding, ding, ding. It was Stellan
It was
Skarsgård.
A. Nice.
Good job, man. You guys are on fire tonight.
Holy cow.
Like
You
even if
guys,
Rando was in the game, I'm sure you guys would be kicking his butt.
yeah.
All right, next question.
Next question.
Anya Taylor-Joy stars in the critically acclaimed 2015 film The Witch. What was significant about this role for her? Was it A, that she was nominated for an Oscar for it? B, it was her first credited role in a movie? C, her uncle directed the film? Or D, she co-wrote it?
Oh
Anya
God.
Taylor-Joy was in the critically acclaimed 2015 film The Witch. What was significant about this role for her?
I only know Anya Taylor-Joy from that chess Netflix show.
Oh yeah,
She was
Queen's
Queen's
Gambit.
Gambit. Yeah, she was so pretty in that. It's like wow, she really really good. Great actress.
And if you haven't seen this movie and you like horror movies, I really recommend it. It's awesome. Like this movie
Uh,
is really, really good. However,
nice.
pro tip, if you do watch it with the subtitles because the movie takes place in colonial New England and they
Uh,
actually speak with the like colonial New England accent.
oh wow.
So it's pretty hard to understand some of the things that they're saying, but it makes it feel so much more authentic and real.
Sure,
But
sure,
yeah,
sure.
saw this movie like a year or two ago and it just blew my mind. Like it was so good.
Wow. It was that good, huh? Damn.
Yeah, loved it.
Wow. Is
All
this on
right.
HBO Max or? Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Uh, I think that's where I watched it.
Oh, nice,
I can't remember for sure. So yeah, take a look.
nice, cool.
All right, Coley Butt emoting in the chat here. And Killer Cookie says D. Coley Butt says D. So Killer Cookie says D. Coley Butt agrees, says D. And
Cookie
Captain Blue Blue
says
says A. Captain Blue Blue going with A. No idea at all. Okay. Cookie says, I watch everything with subtitles. Yeah, me
nice,
too. I
nice.
love subtitles.
Really? Subtitles doesn't kind of distract you from the film? Like you're looking at the words instead of the people's expressions?
Sure, sometimes, but usually for me, it I've gotten like if you'd asked me a couple of years ago, I would have said yes. I don't
Uh-huh.
like that because, and I wouldn't watch like a lot of foreign movies that were subtitled because I would it's instead of watching a movie, I was basically like reading a book, right?
Uh-huh.
Um,
Right.
but I've since gotten a little bit faster at reading, so now I can kind of like glance at the subtitles, get it pretty quickly, and then look back at the screen and see what people are talking about and how they're emoting and what they're doing.
Yeah.
Um, it's helpful for me though because there's some times where I just can't understand what people are saying, and so being
Sure.
able to like have the words there helps.
Yeah, yeah. Like I only have the subtitles on only when it's a foreign film, like, Japanese
Mm.
anime. That's the probably the only
Mm-hmm.
time I actually have subtitles on, or else I find subtitles like so distracting. Like when I'm reading their
Mm.
words, I'm not really paying attention to their, acting expressions, which I think it's so important. But for
Sure.
something like anime, I mean, as much as the amazing animators there are, animation doesn't require a lot of paying attention to their expressions I mean, I could read the words a little bit better. But anyways,
Sure.
that's just me. Yeah.
Yep. No, yep, I'm with you, man. That's
Yeah.
a trade-off for sure. All right. Gentleman Heavy says, no clue about this. So when in doubt, always go see. Captain Blue Blue got in here. Gentleman Heavy's player 3. Okie dokie. In Sweden, Captain Blue says, in Sweden, we do not dub. We always subtitle, except for children's movies. I don't
Oh,
even see subtitles anymore. Yeah, if you use them enough, yeah, they do become just like an integral part of the thing, and it doesn't detract too
right,
much
right, right.
or at all. Cookie says, nope, it helps figure out what they say so I understand a lot more on what's going on. Yep, me too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Captain Blue Blue, you learn to glance and deduce. Bingo.
Nice.
Colibet, I use subtitles because I can't hear over my snacking. That's pretty good.
That's awesome.
And Cookie says, exactly. It's like a processing thing. I also read books and it feels like a movie. Yeah, I
Nice,
agree.
nice.
All right. All the answers are in. Looks like we're a fan of every of every answer except the correct one.
Oh no, you guys!
It was her first credited role in a movie. The movie was very critically acclaimed and it won a lot of awards, and she even won a couple of awards for it, but not an Oscar.
Ah.
I don't think she was related to anybody who worked on the movie, and she didn't have any involvement in the writing, as far as I know. But it was the first movie. She had done like 1 or 2 TV roles before, and like something else that she didn't get credit for. But this was the very first one where they were like Anya Taylor-Joy in the credits on
Mhm,
screen in a movie.
mhm. Well,
So
I'm
there you go.
glad. She's very talented. I really
Oh
enjoy
yeah,
this
she's
actress.
awesome.
Yeah, really, really talented. Very, very. Oh, man, yeah, she should be doing more stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah. Um, whew, all right. I'm feeling a little better. I was like, man, maybe these questions are too easy this week. Like you guys are just blowing through these. So I
Yeah,
finally got one. All
yeah.
right. Next question. I
Uh,
think this is, or sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna read the chat.
Yeah, please.
Cookie says, "Oh my God!" Captain Blue says, "Imagine getting awards for your first movie." Cookie says, "Yeah, never have seen it." Koliba says, "I thought Split was her first movie. She was in Split."
She was. Yep.
Oh, I did not know that.
Um,
I didn't see it, so that's probably why.
yeah, I've, yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw Split, but it was a while ago. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think Split might have, it came after. I'm like 95% sure that The Witch was her first film.
Oh,
And I
oh, oh.
fact checked it, but my fact checking sources could have been wrong. So I think Split might have been a little bit after that.
Mm,
But
mm, mm.
yeah, that was definitely one of her first. Okay, next
No.
question.
Next question.
All right, this is probably one that only Captain Blue is gonna get, and or anybody who's seen this movie. Which area near Stockholm does the film Let the Right One In take place? Is it A, Jarva, B, Blackberg, C, Hagersten, or D, Stocksund?
Pressure,
Stocksund?
pressure on Captain Blue Blue. If he doesn't get this right, he gets his citizenship revoked. Revoked!
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun,
But I felt like
dun.
this one was kind of fair to include for like a horror movie theme, because anytime you look up like best horror movies of all time, Let the Right One In is almost always on a bunch of those lists.
Oh, interesting.
And it's a Swedish film that takes place in one of these places.
Mm.
I haven't seen it though. I hear it's really great, but
Yeah, yeah,
I don't watch a lot of horror movies.
yeah. God, I'm watching people stream like horror video games. Apparently, there's like this new game right now called Madison, and
Mm.
apparently like it's like freaky. It's scary. Just watching it scares the crap out of me. So yeah, horror movies and horror games, I can't do it. It's too scary. It's too scary.
Yeah, well, I like the scary stuff, but I don't know. Sometimes for me, um, it's hard to scare me. Like jump scares obviously get me, but
Sure.
like monsters and stuff don't bother me too much. It's hard to find something that's genuinely like terrifying.
Oh God, you should stream like a scary video game then. Like
And just
like
be bored the whole time.
no. A lot of people, what people do is that they put a heart monitor on
Oh,
the
cool.
thing, and then it shows on the screen, and they challenge themselves to say, oh, if my heart goes above 120, I have to give the sub or something like that. Yeah, so people do that, and it's just and if it's like a challenge. If you, I'll never get scared, and if you do, then you kind of have to like gift people subs or something like
Cool. All right,
that.
maybe. Um, okay, so Campbell says, I'm glad Midsommar wasn't on here though. Oh, I saw that one running around in the research that I did, but I didn't include it. I wasn't familiar with it. Is it a bad movie? Is it a national embarrassment? Colibut says they have an American version of this movie, but it was trash. Yeah, we tend to do that with a lot of remakes. Um, Killer Cookie says, actually, I might go with Coley and say B. Okay.
Hmm.
Cookie changing to B. Captain Blue Blue also says B. Looks like everybody learned
Oh.
from the last
Oh.
question, like, don't leave B out because
Yeah.
that might be the answer. Gentleman
What does
Heavy.
Gentleman Heavy say?
What? So I think I remember this from the theater trivia night back in high school. I'm gonna go B. Wow, B's across the board,
Wow.
making up for
Wow, wow,
last
wow.
time.
Holy cow.
Uh, and the answer is it is B. Good job,
Oh, good
everybody.
job, you
Wow,
guys.
nailed it.
Yay.
I thought this
Holy
was gonna
cow.
be like one of the hardest questions. Like, I'm really relying on people to either have seen this movie and or know their Stockholm geography.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
wow, good job, everybody. All
Wow.
right, I think we're down to the final question of the evening. Sam Raimi is famous for directing the Spider-Man movies, the Tobey Maguire era Spider-Man movies. But what horror movie franchise did he also direct?
Oh, I
Was
know
it
this.
A, Saw, B, Friday the 13th, C, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or D, Evil Dead?
Oh,
What
interesting,
say
interesting.
ye, chat? This one's for all the marbles here. We got Cookie and Captain Blue Blue in a dead heat.
Yeah.
One of you might come out on top here. Coley Butt, Gentleman Heavy, fighting for second place.
Oh man. Oh man.
Or
I
possibly,
I
no, I guess third place.
I think I know the answer to this.
All right, first answer is in. Coley Butt says D. Coley Butt, player number 3, D. Gentleman Heavy says Love Me Evil Dead. Guessing you're also going with D, Gentleman Heavy? Captain Blue Blue says D. Killer Cookie says D. Everybody's going with D. And what say ye, Chris? Is that what you thought, or
Yeah,
do you think
yeah.
it's
That
D?
that's yeah, that's D as well.
Let's see if you guys gonna embarrass yourselves. But I'll click
Oh
this button
God.
here.
It has to be
Oh, you
D.
got it. Good
Yeah, we got
job.
it. Good job, you
It
guys.
was
You guys are
Evil Dead.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that was like one of his first movies was the original Evil Dead, and then he did Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness and all this stuff. But yeah, good job, everybody.
Yeah.
That's a wrap. Captain Blue Blue. Well, I guess we should have expected you to win this session with the the Swedish theme, giving you a little bit of an advantage. But Cookie, impressive first time performance. Glad you got to
Yeah.
play, and
Holy
you did
cow.
really well. Coley Butt and Gentleman Heavy, also very respectable, really close, and tied for third place. And I'm sure if Rando was playing, you guys would have
Right.
creamed him
Kick.
this week
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you guys did really well. I'm really impressed with how much you guys knew about all these random horror movies and Swedish actors. So, well played, everybody.
Yeah, good job everyone. Wow. And yeah, Captain Blue Blue was one away from a clean sweep. Yeah,
Yeah,
there you
almost
go.
a
That's what he
perfect
said.
score.
Almost a perfect score. And Killer Cookie did an amazing job. Like this is her first time playing. And awesome job, Coley Butt and Gentleman Heavy. Both of you guys tied. I wasn't after the second or third question. I stopped calculating. So I think
Oh
I would
yeah.
have been the last place had I was in there. So you guys beat me. You guys beat me. Ah, but awesome.
Oh,
Great work, Michael. These are some really good questions.
thank you. Yeah, I hope
Yeah.
they were fun.
Yeah, they were fun. That was really cool. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for being here again and watching us. And thank you again, Michael, for providing that super fun trivia. And
My
yeah,
pleasure. Oh,
yeah, and
uh, if we have suggestions for a theme for next week, please put it in the chat, and I'll see what I can do.
yeah. And or if you think of anything else, feel free to put it in our Discord as well.
Mm-hmm.
And just because I said that, I want to make sure. Want to put our social down there. If any of you guys watching, if any one of you guys are watching right now, feel free to join our Discord as well as follow our YouTube videos because anytime we do a show, we upload the video and it'll be available for you guys to catch up on or do a little recap the next day. And yeah, that's I think that's about it. Do you guys have any questions for Michael and myself? Michael, yeah, do you have any questions for Michael?
Which one is it, Chris?
Oh God, oh God. Do you have any questions for me or Michael? Oh God, I don't know why I'm making it
You
so
got
hard.
it.
Oh jeez, oh jeez. Gentleman Heavy says, let's see, old school monster movies like King Kong or Godzilla, and
Oh,
Captain Blue
hell
Blue
yeah.
says disaster movies. Mmm,
Hey,
that's
that might
fun.
make a good mashup. We could do
Yeah.
disaster slash classic monster movies for sure.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun. Cookie says I don't have any, but this was awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, glad you liked it, Cookie.
yeah,
Thank you for
and
playing and
yeah,
for being
yeah,
so
yeah,
good
yeah,
at the
yeah.
game.
I know, man. Holy cow. Yeah,
Coming out swinging.
if I was playing, she would have kicked my ass. Oh man. But yes, thank you so much, guys. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Let's go ahead and wrap things up, Michael. Here you guys, here is my social. Make sure you guys follow me and Michael. And you can follow me on my hold on, sorry, I'm trying to get this thing to work. There you go. You can follow me on twitch.tv/, Lead Design Studio, where I stream randomly. I have no set schedule, so if you happen to catch me, awesome. I should figure out a schedule. I mean, I've been streaming fairly on and off kind of deal this past week. So yeah, maybe I should just set up a schedule and be able to let you guys know when I stream. But anyways, yes, thank you guys for being here. You could find me at twitch.tv as Lead Design Studio. I'm also currently having a Kickstarter going on doing tarot cards. If you're able to support, thank you very much. If you're not able, please go ahead and share it with those people that you think might like tarot cards. So really, really appreciate it. And Michael, where can they find you, good sir?
Sure. So I think Chris shared the link. You can check out my stuff there. I've got social media links and the whatnot, and also a Twitch channel.
Mm.
Though I'm still not really actively streaming. I'm gonna get to it. Probably going to be. I have plans for at least 2 or 3 different things. One of which might be a sort of like book club. We're gonna read some books, probably Michael Crichton themed, at least at the beginning. But I also might do something programming related. Either a little later this year or early next year. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, though, I also do have a book out on Amazon called Blockbuster Blueprint, which is all about storytelling and how like the blockbuster stories work. So if you are at all interested in that and you want to support me, that's a way to do it. Otherwise, the best place to find me is right here on the Creative Tavern every Wednesday and Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where I'll be hanging out with Chris and you guys, talking shop about making video games and cool art and staying creative.
Yeah,
So I'd love to
yeah.
have
Yeah, totally. And yes, please join us next or this upcoming Sunday at 7 p.m. PST, and we will be waiting for you. And it's always good to have you guys. And again, if you guys have any artwork, we will take a look at it on Sunday. So Michael and I have established that Wednesday is trivia night and Sundays is art night. And so we will take a look at all your amazing artwork, and it doesn't have to be artwork. Gentleman Heavy has posted some, little miniature paintings that he's done, and it's very, very cool. So yes, please share, and share it in the Discord, and so that would be very, very, very cool. All right, guys, we're gonna call it a night. Thank you so much again, and we're gonna miss you. We're gonna miss you. All right, see you guys. Bye. All right. Wait! Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere.
raid.
We're gonna raid. We're gonna raid. Let's see if any one of our friends are on online. So hold on. Time to raid. Holy cow! There's like a whole bunch of people. Oh wow. Wow 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 wow.
How many
Okay.
choices?
Yeah, yeah. So today, I want to do something a little bit different. I mean, not different. There is a. I currently just followed a person who does ceramics or pottery, and
Cool.
her name is. I don't know what her name is. But her Twitch handle is Arts by Eva, or her name is Eva then. Uh, and so we're gonna go ahead and raid her. We
Awesome.
shall rate her. She seems very, very nice, and I want to see if we can make this work. All right, raid by Eva. All right, guys.